recording and transcription. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is the first ever Botcast of TripleNil and DoubleAgent. I'm TripleNil. This is DoubleAgent, otherwise known as Alex.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about...
If you want what Botcast means, it's Battle Botcast.
That's right.
As in the show, Battlebots.
So we're going to be talking about Battlebots today.
Yeah.
And hopefully everybody can see my screen. I have
a
shot of the giant nut up. So what we're going to talk about today is the final episode of the season 6, which is the episode which includes the championship bout. So there's several bouts that kind of precede that.
And it's the ending that we absolutely did not expect.
I agree with you on that. We did not expect this. No, well, let's not give any spoilers just yet, Alex. But I agree with you 100%. We did not expect this ending just yet. That said, let's take you through the bouts. There was actually 7 bouts on this on the card tonight, and this was the final 8, right? The final 8 teams, the season 6 finale. Let's talk about the first bout, Alex, which was Riptide. Riptide is out of California. They're a rookie, if you remember. Riptide. They had a great season. They had lots and lots of knockouts, 4 KOs, and they're fighting Sawblaze, who's actually from Massachusetts. What are your impressions of Sawblaze?
I mean, I heard later in the tournament that he learned that the driver of Sawblaze, or the team captain, Jameson Go, learns after every fight that he has and is more determined to win the giant nut every time. So I basically knew he was going to win. I mean, not basically knew, but
I agree with you. He's a great driver. He's been around for a long time, right? And Riptide was only around for 1 season. So I think going into it, who do you think was going to win going into this one?
Sawblaze.
Yeah? You know, Riptide is such a heavy hitter. I actually thought Riptide had a puncher's chance. I thought they had a chance to just knock him out. But in this one, so this was a really, really good bout. If you remember, do you remember the way it ended? Sawblaze knocked him and stood him on the side.
Yes. Show the next picture, actually, right now.
I do have that picture, yeah. So let's put that up. There you go.
Yeah, gets him stuck in the side of the box, and like he does not have his own self-rider, and like the forks on top of his primary weapon kind of defeat his chances of driving upside down.
Agree. He's got he can drive upside down, but he can't self-right when he's sideways. So the mechanism that actually allows him to drive upside down is what was keeping him sideways, and he was not stuck in the wall, which was important. He was actually just stuck on his side. He wasn't stuck to the wall, because if he was stuck in the wall, as we're going to see later, that would be grounds for restarting and resetting the characters. So this was, by the way, go ahead. Yeah.
Basically. I mean, let me just say, and this is one thing that you've said multiple times, if you don't have a self-rider in the tournament, then you have no chance of winning it. Or not no chance, but you know, you have a very low chance of doing it.
You got to have a self-rider in this league. Absolutely, you got to have a self-rider.
Because if you get flipped and you have no self-rider and you can't drive upside down, you are done. You are done for.
Agreed, 100%. By the way, just some fun facts. This was Jameson Go's first semifinal. He'd never made the semifinals before, though he's been around for several years. And by the way, he took some big hits, really big hits in this bout, and was extraordinarily durable. So kudos to Sawblaze for surviving Riptide, which is a very, very strong bot.
Yes.
And in fact, this guy right here
is captain of Blip, which is this guy's rookie bot this season. He has another bot called Tantrum that he how do I put this? That he left to make this bot and let 2 other members of the team take control of that bot. The bot he originally made was called Tantrum, and when he started, this guy over here, my dad, thought that Tantrum was a joke.
I did, but that's a great segue. Thank you for the segue. The next bout was Tantrum versus Cobalt. Oh wait, you know what I got to do? Alex, I got to go back. I got to go back to the last bout.
Oh yeah, why?
One thing I got to tell you. When Farouk did his intros, he did one of my favorite rhymes of all time. My favorite intro of all time. He said, "Of saw blades," you said, "a vertical saw to murder you all."
Oh yeah,
I thought
that was a good rhyme.
Awesome intro. Yeah, I thought that was one of the best that I'd heard so far. Anyway, okay, so getting back to bout number 2, we've got Cobalt and we've got Tantrum. What a great bout!
Yeah.
I love Cobalt. I've always loved Cobalt.
So if you don't really know who Cobalt is, or who the bot is, I should be saying, it's this like vertical disc spinner. I think that's what it is. Or wait, is this Tantrum versus Cobalt, or is this?
It's Tantrum versus Cobalt? Yeah. So they're both vertical.
Yeah.
Cobalt is a vertical saw, though. It's a saw, and really just extraordinarily destructive bot.
And yeah, basically that. Yet, so the turnout was actually another unexpected turnout. It was like a turnout that we saw earlier this season with Endgame versus Sawblaze. Endgame won that one by knockout. Literally, knockout. He knocked Sawblaze out of the ring, even though they added like glass panes that would prevent any bot from getting out of the box. There's still like the doorway where you can flip someone out. That's exactly what Tantrum did with Cobalt. They flipped him out of the ring. That exact way.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and I don't think anyone really saw this coming. Knocked him completely out of the arena. One of my notes here says, and I remember this really well, punched him perfectly, right? The puncher on Tantrum, which is a vertical spinner, right? And it's designed to go back and forth, worked perfectly.
Yeah. Exactly. It like took the perfect punches, and they did a punch to knock him out of the ring, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, I should mention in this one, Tantrum did a great job of chewing up Cobalt's front wedges, right? So Cobalt has to get under its other bot, right? It has to get under its opponent. In this case, Tantrum was able to just get under it and under it and under it. Yeah. It chewed up its front wedges and basically tore them to shreds, which allowed them to get under it even more. And this is what allowed them to win the bout.
That's a tip. If you have a Battlebot and you're in the tournament, do not use forks as a wedge, because I think the actual wedges are better, and the forks kind of mess things up. Because if I remember, like last episode in the tournament, Endgame almost got stuck on one, and then earlier this season, this very destructive bot called Deep Six, got stuck on one, which caused him to be knocked out.
Yes, I remember. Yes. So I don't know about you, Alex, I was really bummed about Cobalt. I thought Cobalt could go to the finals. I really did.
He was a really good bot. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tantrum wins. So Tantrum moves on. Next one, Blip versus Hydra. So this is a great bout because this is two flippers.
Yeah, and we already talked about Tantrum and his primary weapon, but we haven't really talked about Blips. And yes, my dad just did say what it was, a battle of flippers. And yes, Blip's primary weapon is a flipper. Just one weird thing. Usually, when you're a flipper bot, you would have your flipper low to the ground so you could get under your opponents easily. But Blip actually had his flipper up here when his other parts were this much off the ground. This was how high his flipper was. This is how much it was off the ground. And
yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point.
But still, a really good destructive bot that flipped everyone around. He
was undefeated this year. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it was a great bot. Aaron Hill, who you see on the screen here, who is also with Tantrum, as we had said. Both of it.
Blip.
Yep. Go ahead.
Then gave it up to be Blip. That's what I.
Yeah, that's right. He did leave to so he was only with Blip, but both of those teams, worth mentioning, both of those teams were undefeated this year. Now Hydra is led by Jake Ewert, the guy with the backwards baseball cap, the black and red and white shirt,
and
right?
He's a part of the Waiachi team.
Yes.
It's Son of Waiachi.
Remember Son of Waiachi? Man, we miss Son of Waiachi, don't we?
Destructive bots. But now we have Jake Ewert, the next big thing. And I actually mean that. It when he first came out in season 4, Hydra, Bronco was no longer the best flipper. Hydra took the show. Every step of the way, all KOs until the tournament, when Minotaur won by knockout.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think Hydra is a great bot. And definitely during that season 4, if you remember they faced each other at the end, and Hydra sort of dominated Bronco, and it was really thrilling, but it was also kind of sad at the same time, if you remember. In this case, Blip is such a durable bot. So Blip has a great flipper. It's a small flipper. They're a very durable bot. In this case, in this bout, Blip got flipped, but he couldn't self-right. Okay, so he got flipped over, and he kept flipping and tried to self-right, could not self-right, and then what happened was he got hung up on the platform, he got stuck, he couldn't get off, and he was KO'd. So Hydra, who looked awesome during this bout, moves on. Any other thoughts about this bout?
I don't really think so. So, although, did you have a picture of that bout, actually?
I don't have a picture of that bout. I do have a picture of the next bout, which is a big one. This is a big one. So this is Witch Doctor versus Minotaur. Remember that? Yeah. He's down in. We're recording, you know.
All right. Yeah. That's my
this
sister.
This is our Botcast.
Yes, right. That's my sister Anna. Thank you, Anna, for joining.
Yes, thank you, Anna, for joining. He's in Nate's room. Okay, so what's happening is that we have the Witch Doctor, who's the 2019 runner-up. Witch Doctor was the 24 seed in this tournament. Really. No. What's going on here?
What do you want?
All right, so I'm going to keep going here. 24 seed in this tournament. We've got Mike and Andrea. And Minotaur, of course, is from Brazil. Daniel Freitas is the driver, as everybody knows. And boy, was this a good bout. I'm telling you right now, this was a good bout.
It was a good bout.
The first hit went to Witch Doctor, and things just went kaboom from there.
Exactly.
Let me
Okay.
Let me show you just one of the hits. Here's one of the hits. I mean, I think this is the first hit.
Yeah.
Then, so what happened was Witch Doctor got the first couple of hits in. Minotaur then started to dominate. Okay, there was a lot of controversy in this one. In this one, right? Huge hits, flying around the arena. Witch Doctor at one point got stuck on the arena. Do you remember this? He got stuck on the rails.
Oh yeah.
Right? He could not get off of the rails. Also, Minotaur had lost one of their wheels. So we've got a situation now where both bots are not doing well, right? Minotaur is basically crab walking. Witch Doctor is stuck under the arena, and they have to stop the bout. So they take a timeout and they do a restart. Okay. Here's where the controversy ensues. Minotaur could not do lateral movement. And I'm sorry.
It's crap walking because he lost.
I'm sorry, friends of Minotaur, right? Like, there's a lot of people that love Minotaur.
Yeah.
I don't think, unless you can tell me differently, Minotaur had no lateral movement.
They did not. They did not really. They lost their wheel. And I thought that, and so they could crab walk. And I thought crab walking was counted as not a typical movement. Yet the team of Minotaur kept showing the ref that they had control, and so to keep the bout going, even though they should have been counted out earlier than that. Even the Witch Doctor team thought that.
Yeah, I what do you have, chocolate? All right, so I think the same thing. Like, I was thinking, now Witch Doctor, if you recall, Witch Doctor stood way back and said, okay, well, why aren't they counting them out? Why aren't they counting them out?
Yeah.
And I swear, I think the Minotaur team was bullying the ref into saying, oh, we've got lateral movement. We can do whatever we want to do. The bottom line was Minotaur could not attack Witch Doctor even if they wanted to. In other words, if Witch Doctor just planted themselves at one side of the arena, Minotaur could not reach them because they had no wheel.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, because they had no wheel, they had to crab walk everywhere. Once they got to Witch Doctor could just move away with good, complete control.
Yep, and they were saying, should we engage? Should we engage? Why aren't they counting them out? Witch Doctor did have the ability to attack Minotaur,
but they didn't want to because they knew that Minotaur was going to be counted out.
But Minotaur was not counted out. At the end of the day, they were not counted out. Minotaur, yeah. It went the distance. That said, I don't think, even though Witch Doctor had the opportunity to attack Minotaur and probably could have hit him on the sides, which would have been safer, of course, than the drum spinner, which sounds like a cacophony within that within the halls of the BattleBot arena.
Exactly.
Even though they could do that, they had every right to just sit back and say, well, this bot can't even attack me. They can't even get to me. Minotaur should have been counted out. Period. End of story.
I agree with that.
You agree with that?
Let's just move on. That's it.
Battle number 5. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Ooh, we've got a good one here. I'm going to flip the slide. Here we go. So this was another controversial decision.
Yeah.
Hydra.
If you remember, I was saying that Tantrum was avenging Blip's death because Hydra won that bout. So I took it as that, as they were avenging Blip.
That's a great point. I didn't think of that storyline, but you're right.
Yeah, since they basically have the same team and they're related, they would obviously try to avenge their death.
You know what? I'm in agreement with you.
Yeah, I was saying that numerous times.
Hydra flipped him. Hydra flipped Tantrum all over the arena.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Tantrum does have a self-rider.
He does. He does. Yeah. But he got flipped probably a dozen times.
Yeah, but they were testing it out. They were testing out how high they could be flipped and sustain the most damage. If you can remember, they showed us the scenes with Blip flipping Tantrum and to practice for this fight.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, and boy, Tantrum is a durable bot. They're durable. It didn't look good. I'm gonna tell you right now, it didn't look good because Tantrum was flying all over the place. But at the end, it did go down to a decision, right? It was a split decision. At one point, in fact, this picture that you see on your screen here is a great example of why it was a split decision, because Hydra was flipping Tantrum all over the place, but there was a moment where, and if you remember this, Hydra got his arm stuck in the up position, and Tantrum was going under.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Like Tantrum was punching Hydra's flipper over and over again.
Yeah. Which is big points, but Hydra was able to reset, and they actually got the last flip in. Like at the closing moments, Hydra just flipped them 12 feet in the air. It was a split decision, and I do have a really interesting shot here
of the cards. Yes.
Yeah, and boy, this is I mean, what can you say? What was the difference was control, right?
Yes. If you look at the control points, it's almost the same.
No, I'm sorry. Aggression. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's almost the same until you hit the the control is actually they're exactly the same until you hit Lisa's paper, which shows the most aggression points for Hydra.
Yeah, which is the only reason why Lisa had it higher than the other guys. And aggression, this makes me actually take a step back and say, okay, how important is aggression really? If people are going to, if a bot is going to just sit in the middle of the ring and every time another bot comes near it, it destroys it, well then how important is aggression really? I mean, it makes it for a more entertaining fight. But, I'm sorry, but I thought Hydra won that fight.
Exactly.
So, I mean, he just threw them all over the place.
Yeah. And judging by Lisa's answers, Hydra did win in her mind.
Yeah, and Tantrum did have the most
the
damage though for all three of them. Anyway.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. Super interesting bout. Really, really interesting.
For Jason's and for Lisa's.
And do you remember the crowd reaction?
Oh yeah, like was that another one where they were outraged as well?
They were a little bit outraged.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot
of stuff that angers the fans.
I think there was a lot of booing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is what it is. I mean, the judges, whatever. That's their scoring methodology. So yeah. What can we say? Okay.
I basically do not know what to say. I would say that Hydra would have won that fight. Or Hydra did win that fight, or anything.
I thought so. I thought that they did, but yeah, it's up to the judges, right?
It is what it is. Okay.
Okay, so let's get to the next fight. Was really, really crazy. Okay.
And the next fight was
on paper, this is an awesome bout. Probably very, very close on paper. Sawblaze versus Witch Doctor. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now.
What is it?
Witch Doctor annihilated Sawblaze, like completely annihilated Sawblaze.
Flying all over.
Yeah.
And Sparks.
Yeah. If you remember the last bout with Witch Doctor where there's controversy.
Yeah.
Right, where he didn't attack enough.
Of course.
Well, in this bout, he just destroyed him.
Destroyed, like, everywhere.
Yeah. In fact, my notes here are no mercy. In fact, on the very first hit, Witch Doctor took off one of Sawblaze's wheels. First hit.
Yeah.
And then soon after took off the other wheel.
Right.
And then Sawblaze was on fire. Witch Doctor dominated. There was absolutely no doubt. Witch Doctor gets to the finals for the second time in 3 years.
Yes.
Any thoughts about that one? That was pretty straightforward. I think that was like boom.
Nothing except for the total annihilation that happened.
Yeah, I think that Mike.
Everything in that fight.
What's that?
Everything in that fight was just total annihilation.
It really was. I think Michael was really trying to show everybody, the crowd, the judges, everybody, that like they, they're not afraid to attack, because in the previous fight it looked like they were holding back. In this case, they were, even after Sawblaze was done. Sawblaze was completely knocked out, or should have been knocked out. Witch Doctor was just pounding and pounding him. So I thought it was very ruthless. I think that's what Witch Doctor really needed to do to reestablish himself.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, the next
last fight. Ready?
The main event, the finals. The one who took the giant nut. We're going.
Yes.
Now, when the picture comes up, we're gonna say who it is.
Here it comes. Okay.
Tantrum won.
Tantrum beat Witch Doctor in the finals.
Yeah. Never in a million years would Dad think that Tantrum would win.
I honestly didn't think Tantrum would win. No.
He thought
first of all,
weapon was funny. Yet he only took one hit, and this picture that you see was the hit, was the finishing hit, the first finishing hit.
Yeah, the very first hit of the bout. If you look,
under Witch Doctor, which affected their drivetrain, I think. Right?
Yes, and they couldn't. Yes, exactly. Like tore open their underbelly, affected their drivetrain, and they could not drive from there. They could only crab walk, which we know is not a good thing. One thing important to mention, though, Alex. This is the first time
a female has ever won the giant nut.
Yes, but also there were two women captains. So the one of the team captain for Tantrum is a woman, and the team captain for Witch Doctor is also a woman. So I just think it's great to see women getting into the sport and like having success. Yes,
it is. And I even said that this season would go down in history because of the woman captain winning the giant nut. Since it was the first time anyone has ever done that.
Absolutely. I should also mention in this one, Witch Doctor was sort of crab walking, but had a little bit of lateral movement. But Tantrum really had very, very superior driving. In other words, Tantrum was able to hit from the side, and just the driving from Tantrum, we don't give them a lot of credit. So many of the other drivers get so much credit, and Matt Vasquez and things like that. The driving was phenomenal, I would have to say, on Tantrum's part.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
The knockout came with 8 seconds left. So
wow.
It almost So it was really I thought overall a great tournament. Really did not end the way that I thought in any sort of in any sense, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
going into it, I think your thought was the same as mine, that Endgame probably has this, like going into the tournament.
Yeah. Like, I was really sad when he got knocked out by Minotaur. It was basically the Bite Force replacement.
That's such a great point. I do think that Minotaur Endgame has been seen as the Bite Force replacement, and Bite Force was almost, it couldn't be defeated at all. And Endgame sort of assumed that mantle, but of course they could be defeated, and Minotaur did. Boy, do you remember Do you remember that scene from the episode before when Minotaur defeated Endgame and they were like Daniel Freitas was like going crazy.
Yeah.
And,
You
I
should
don't
have
know.
a picture of the hat, like, and then just showed it on the screen.
I know I don't have a picture of it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wish I could show mine. I wish I could like show a picture on my screen, but I didn't have an entire picture set ready.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll have more pictures next time.
Okay.
So overall, great tournament. Tantrum, the winner. Shocker to everybody. I thought Witch Doctor was going to take it. Actually,
Yeah.
I thought Hydra was going to take it. I honestly thought Hydra was going to
Either
roll.
Either going to be Sawblaze, Minotaur, or Hydra, but this was a big change.
Yeah, I agree with you. So you think Sawblaze, Minotaur, or Hydra?
Yes.
Were the three big ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I think there were so many big names. Tantrum came out of nowhere.
No. It was Riptide that came out of nowhere.
Well, Tantrum for me, Tantrum kind of came out of nowhere because I didn't give him any credit. I honestly didn't think Tantrum had a shot in the world. I didn't think that they had a shot against Hydra, and they won. They beat Witch Doctor, etc. Although Riptide is a great bot too. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Riptide.
Not
Ribbot.
Completely different bot.
Not Ribbot.
Another one that Dad once again thought was a joke.
I did. Well, we all thought it was a joke. That Ribbot used to be a jobber, right? Ribbot became a main event guy. He was a jobber.
He became like someone who eventually got in the tournament this year.
Yeah, he did. He didn't do too bad. Ribbot's not a bad bot.
All right.
You got to give him credit.
Yeah, and everyone else that also made the tournament.
Yeah. It was what a
veterans as well.
What a great tournament. Now, Alex, do you want to tell them a little bit more about what we're going to be doing on our next Botcast? We're going to get into what do they call them?
The new season.
No, not the new season. There's the matches.
The Bounty Hunter. The Bounty Hunter.
That's I lost the words. Yes,
yeah.
Bounty Hunter. So our next Botcast, we'll be looking at the Bounty Hunter match. So we're looking forward to that. So anyway, we hope you liked our first Botcast. Just our thoughts, our perspectives. If you like everything, give us 5 stars. If you don't, please don't vote at all because it really hurts our feelings. So anyway, we're going to let you go until next time. Thank you for watching. Alex, say goodbye.
Peace.
Peace.
It's the way to say goodbye. Yeah.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.